Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. As always, let's take a very practical look at an idea from chapter 22, section 3 of the course, which is not the only place, by the way, where this idea can be found. It's just where we happen to find ourselves as we gradually make our way through the text here on this series of videos, which has been going on for almost 4 years now. So if you're brand new and watching for the first time, welcome. If you feel like it and you're called and so inclined, there's a lot of content already out here. And if you've been watching it for some time now, thank you for tuning in again. These videos, by the way, are for everybody, regardless of your spiritual background, regardless of your religious background. That absolutely makes no difference here. Everyone is welcome. The course is a self-study curriculum. It's universal. And it doesn't matter where you've come from, where you've been, or what you appear to be doing right now. So let's talk about one of these ideas that this course presents that really give us some pause. If you've been doing this for a while, and many of you have, you know this feeling that I'm talking about, where you run into an idea that this course presents over and over again, and it's really difficult to grasp. We can all relate to this. So, the idea that we're talking about appears throughout the course, but specifically in the text, we're looking at chapter 22, paragraph, or excuse me, section 3. All paragraphs of that section. Section 3 is what we're looking at, and it's entitled Reason and the Forms of Error. So, the idea here, just put very simply, is we don't see with the body's eyes. We don't see with the body's eyes. That idea, just blurted out all by itself, can seem really weird. I mean, it can seem dead wrong, can't it? But let's all think about what's meant here. The first example that we can think of, which we can all relate to, is having a dream. The images that we see in dreams, maybe flying, talking to people that we don't know, going really, really quickly, instantaneously from one scene to another, from one place to another, having conversations with people that appear very real, experiencing very real sensations, sights, sounds, smells, even all kinds of things. The dream appears real to us and we see it. It's pretty clear oftentimes, yet the body's eyes are closed. And we see very real looking images. So we're not seeing with the body's eyes. They're shut. That's just a quick example of it. We actually do see with the mind. And of course, we really, truly don't see with the body's eyes either because we're not a body. This I know you know. There's more to our experience. I mean, we would say here in the world, there's more meaning to it, there's more purpose to our lives than just getting up and going to work today. While that may be important, there's more to it than that. I mean, really, there's got to be more to it than going off to an office or another work scenario, or if you work from home, sitting down at the computer for multiple hours each day. If you don't work, all the things that you do to fill your time during the day, which can be quite a lot, checking our email, eating, sleeping, wondering about tomorrow's lunch, perhaps stressing over bills, perhaps being grateful that they're all paid. uh, And we vacillate back and forth. And we all know, we deep down know that there's more to it than that. Of course there is. We don't see with the body's eyes because we're not a body. So, what's going on here when the Course talks about vision? Well, we have a choice. You have a choice. You may say you don't have any choices in this world. Well, that's not true. You have a choice. We all have a choice right now. Just one, not 8 billion, one. There are exactly two options. One is the thought system of the Holy Spirit, the one that Jesus is presenting to us and teaching us here in A Course in Miracles. The other is the ego. One is truth, one's illusion. One's light, the other dark. One God, one the ego. Those are ways that you can characterize this one choice. One choice, exactly two options. If you choose not to choose, you're, of course, choosing. If you choose to say, I have no choice, again, you're choosing. It's simple enough, yet we encounter extraordinary resistance to that, especially to the simplicity of things. What happens here is when we choose the ego, when we choose to believe that we're a separate individual self, a body, an individual human being with all of our titles, with all of our accolades and our this just ephemeral social status, which comes and goes, and that we often worry about. All of the stuff, all of the labels that we heap upon ourselves, including some of the ones we consider to be the most basic, like human being, man, woman, our ethnic group, our national origin, stuff like that. Remember, you're not a body. So when we side with the ego, when we think we're separate, what happens is we use the body's eyes and we attempt to see. And we certainly appear to see form, stuff in the world, bodies, other bodies, computer screens, like the one that you're watching right now. We appear to see things, they appear to be outside us, but here is the limitation on that. The body's eyes see only appearance, the form, and they stop there. They stop there and they don't see beyond the outward form. And because of that, we look at things and we instantly rush to judgment on them. We take a look at someone's outfit and we think, oh, that's cool. He looks good. She looks good today. That's a nice outfit. Or we think, oh, that's hideous. Or we look at a sunset, judge it beautiful. Someone else standing right next to you could say, what's so special about that? Right? In their perception, something that you're enjoying and love, they don't love. But the body's eyes stop at the form, and they don't go beyond that to the content, to the meaning. So when we attempt to follow the ego as our guide and use the body's eyes to see, we're limiting ourselves. Remember, you're not a body. Your brother, other people, right, are not their bodies. There's more to it than that, which we don't get with the body's eyes. It's something that we can attempt to describe in words for sure, but it's often an intuition, a gut feeling. Maybe you could characterize it as a deep inner knowing, something that you just know. And we would say here in our language, in the world, in this convention of language, that we can feel it. Yeah, that it's visceral, that it's gut level, things like that. We just know something, we're experiencing it. And what's really going on is this is vision here with the mind. We see beyond the form to the meaning. We see beyond the outward form of our brother, what looks like an individual human being, to the essence of it, the heart of the matter, the content, as the Course repeatedly puts it, the truth of who and what he is, the truth of who and what she is. We see beyond the form to the content and meaning, and the experience of doing this is, in fact, it's beyond words, but you may have experienced it more than once, multiple times, where you just know and you realize you're actually using vision. You're choosing, and it's an active choice that we can make right now. And I encourage you to do it, to see with the Holy Spirit, to look at this whole experience with the Holy Spirit, or Jesus, the Holy Spirit, Sam. Look with your inner teacher. Look at it with your inner teacher instead of the ego. The ego stops right at the form and rushes to judgment. Our inner teacher goes right past the form to the actual essence of who and what we are and sees that. You can choose to see that instead. Now, if you've gone through the workbook for students or you're going through it, this particular conversation can shed some light on numerous lessons in the workbook, especially some of those very first few lessons where, and I'm sure that many of you can relate to this, where you pick it up thinking you're going to do something spiritual, and then you look at this idea that you're supposed to repeatedly practice and remind yourself of throughout the day. Nothing I see in this room means anything. Nothing I see on this street means anything. And you're going, what? I mean, can you relate to that? I certainly can. The first time I picked up the workbook for students, lesson one, I thought the exact same thing that many of you probably thought. What does this have to do with spirituality? Well, my hope is this conversation clears a lot of that up. Everything. Because we don't see things as they really are. We don't see the content when we look with the ego. We stop at the outward form. This is an outward form. We stop there and pass one judgment after another, and we're invited to go beyond. We're invited to look at our lives, at our experience, at everything that appears to be happening here with the Holy Spirit, rather than with the ego, with our inner teacher. And let our inner teacher take control. Again, something that we find deeply threatening. All resistance is the ego. You may 100% count on that. And the resistance can be so strong at times here as we study and practice this course or any spirituality. Actually, this applies across the board because the ego wants you to continue to adhere to it, and it, in a manner of speaking, is no longer going to pretend that it's your friend. It's no longer, after a while, going to try to win you over with bribery and guile and nice shiny objects, assuaging you for a spell. It can be downright vicious, very mean, very loud. And I know that many of you can relate to this. So, what do we do? Well, we continue to choose the thought system of the Holy Spirit. We continue to choose love instead of fear. We continue to choose forgiveness instead of condemnation and blame. That is what we do. And we choose to look at all of this with our inner teacher. And it's very different. That's actually almost as far as we can really go in language. This is something that we experience. And after all of spirituality is about experience, isn't it? That's how we learn best. We put these ideas into practice. We forgive, forgive, forgive. We extend love, extend love, extend love. We connect with our inner teacher and choose again and again to look with our inner teacher rather than the ego. Look at all of this differently with the Holy Spirit. And then our experience demonstrates something very powerful to us, that these ideas are true, as wild and weird as they may seem at first glance or the 15,000th glance. I don't know. It's something that we return to over and over again. And the more you do, the more your experience shows you, demonstrates to you, proves to you these ideas are true. All right. So I thank you, as always, for tuning in. And something that I often say that I want to say again is your dedication and your commitment to your spiritual practice are very, very important. It's huge. It's the highest and best offering you could ever give anyone, anywhere, at any time. So these past few minutes that you have taken out of your busy life or your busy day or busy evening, morning, whatever that looks like for you, where you are in the world, it's very important, and I thank you for that. Now, I welcome comments and questions right here on YouTube. If you've got them, the comment thread's, in fact, a perfect place to drop a comment or a question if you have one, or pop in and say hello. I'd love to hear from you. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do that as well. This prompt over here in the corner of your screen is the icon to click. Click it, and you'll be invited to join us. So what will you get with that? Well, the Holy Spirit, right? Several videos appear each week, and this course is something that people come back to over and over again, and you'll find that the ideas that we cover may appear to be exactly the same. Well, it's the same idea repeated over and over again. That's A Course in Miracles. And yes, when bound together, the book that it is long. Yet, all of spirituality involves the repetition of very simple lessons because it's the very simple lessons that we're most apt to overlook. Hence the reminders from our inner teacher. All right, so I thank you for joining me, and I will see you all again very soon.